Yeah, the Orthodox Church is, in America, it seems an oddity, or it's an unknown quantity, but it is the second largest Christian communion in the world. We insist on maintaining the deposit of the apostles, maintaining the church as it has been, keeping the style of worship, keeping the teachings of the faith in a way that doesn't change with the times and isn't subject to the fluctuations of different cultural ideas and different ideas of any given era in which we live. Many people come to our church for that very reason, that they've come from churches where they feel like the rug's been pulled out from under them. They grew up believing certain things about Christ, believing certain things about morality, how Christians should live and how Christians should worship. And the foundation is no longer there because it's been changed so radically. And so the Orthodox Church for many people feels like coming into safe haven after a storm. And we can read in the writings of the Church Fathers, we can read descriptions of liturgies in centuries past, millennia past, and we recognize ourselves there. It's not a foreign world. And that's what brought me into the Orthodox Church, was feeling, not that I felt that the foundation had changed underneath me, but simply that I looked at what I knew of church, what my experience of church was. And I was reading the writings of early Christians, and I could just see a tremendous gap between those two situations. And I said, well, the solution here is to make myself in line with what I find in the historical texts. And so it started me on the search, and here I am at the Orthodox Church, in the Greek Orthodox Church after a long search. I think that's our great appeal, is that we believe that Christianity is the process of preserving the deposit of faith that was given to the apostles. It's not about what we can do creatively in the name of Christianity. It's not about coming up with interesting thoughts or interesting ideas. It's about preserving the deposit of faith, and most particularly preaching the same gospel, that Christ died and Christ rose again, and that we are here to proclaim in every generation the truth of his resurrection, and to continue to perform the sacraments in the way that he handed down to the apostles. Because when we think about Christ, he didn't leave any writings behind. We don't have any in our scriptures. We don't have any writings directly from Jesus' hand. We have his teachings, of course, from the apostles who heard them. But the one thing that he did leave behind was his church, and he gave them the instructions to celebrate the Lord's Supper in his name, and that is the focus of our worship. We come together every Sunday on the day of the resurrection, the day when the myrrh-bearing women showed up at the tomb and they found it empty, and went and proclaimed to the apostles that Christ was risen. We meet every Sunday for that reason, and we come together for the sacrament that he left behind to us, which is the Eucharist, the partaking of his body and blood in the forms of bread and wine. In 2017, we celebrated 75 years as a parish, and we're looking forward now to the next 75 years, and how do we make it to the 100th anniversary, the 150th anniversary, and beyond. And for us, the focus is to make sure that we're proclaiming faithfully the gospel of Jesus Christ in the Orthodox faith, and to put our efforts on making sure that our young people understand the gospel and that they're being formed by it, and that it's not just something they maybe hear and understand in an intellectual sense, but it becomes part of their lives in such a way that it draws them closer into the church and into the bosom of Christ. And that's why we put so much effort into our youth programs and into making sure that the children are constantly here in church, constantly being formed by the gospel and by our teachings.